My life used to be peaceful. Every morning I would wake up to the sound of birds singing outside my window and the aroma of coffee filling the small kitchen. A stable job, a loving family, and joyful friends. All of it made me believe I was living in a safe haven that nothing could touch. Then one afternoon that seemed just like any other, the storm began to roll in. A phone call, a short sentence from the hospital, brought everything crashing down. Your test results are not good. I heard every word clearly, but it felt like my ears were ringing and every sound around me suddenly disappeared. I remember that moment vividly. My hand was shaking so much I couldn't hold the phone. My heart was racing and my mind was blank. Just a few hours before, I was laughing with my colleagues. Now all my plans and future dreams felt like they had been torn to shreds by an invisible hand. In the days that followed, my life was covered by a thick fog. The illness didn't just attack my body, it invaded my mind. I started to dread the mornings because the sunlight no longer brought hope, but only reminded me that I was getting closer to an end. My family and friends tried to comfort me, but I knew they were also at a loss. Their worried eyes made me feel even more like a burden. There were nights when I lay awake for hours asking myself, why me? Why did God let this happen? I had never thought much about faith before. To me, God was just a distant concept, a story someone told in a church. But now, as every anchor disappeared, a question began to stir in my heart that I didn't dare to face. If He truly exists, does He see me right now? The storms of life often come unexpectedly, without warning. And when they hit, we realize how small and fragile we are. I didn't know where this storm would take me, or if I would survive it. But deep down, a tiny part of me still hoped that somewhere, in the darkness and howling wind, there would be a ray of light for me. The stark white hospital room, with its strong smell of antiseptic, gradually became my world. The days before, I was busy with work, family, appointments, but now everything was confined within 4 cold walls and the steady beeping of machines. My body weakened rapidly. The pain came suddenly, violently, like waves crashing onto the shore, washing away my strength and my hope. Every morning I opened my eyes, I wondered how many days I had left to live. Fear crept into every breath, and darkness seemed to be devouring my mind. Night was the worst time. With no more footsteps of nurses or hushed conversations of loved ones, I lay there, listening to my heart pounding and the rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor as a reminder that life was hanging by a thin thread. In those moments, I felt utterly small and helpless. I started to lose my sense of time. Day and night passed the same way, the only difference being the light seeping through the window cracks. The gaze of visitors also changed. They smiled, but their eyes were filled with worry and pity. That made me feel even more isolated. I used to think I was strong, but those days showed me how fragile human strength is. With no goals to strive for, no future plans, I felt like I was drifting aimlessly on a vast dark sea, with no shore in sight. If anything was still holding me back, it was only a thin thread of hope. But even that thread, I felt, was slowly slipping from my grasp. As night fell, the room became so silent I could hear every beat of my heart. The darkness covered not just the outside, but also crept into my soul. Before, night was a time for rest, but now it was a heavy, suffocating space where dark thoughts found their way in. I lay there looking at the ceiling, feeling like someone slowly falling into a bottomless abyss. With every passing minute, the voice in my head became clearer. It's all over. What's the point of trying? No one understands and no one can save you. At first, I tried to push it away, but the more I resisted, the stronger it became, seeping in like water dripping into a dry well. I remembered the days before the illness hit, the mornings full of energy, the joyful conversations, the plans for the future. Now they all seemed like old, faded photographs, forgotten in a dusty box. I didn't just lose my health, I lost my purpose in life. Then one night, that voice became colder and more specific. If you're too tired, just let go. Just end it, and all the pain will stop. I burst into tears, but I didn't know if I was crying out of fear or because I was being carried away by that thought. The crying wasn't loud, just choked sobs, enough for me to feel that I was truly standing on the edge of a cliff. In that moment, I wished for a hand to hold mine, to pull me out of the darkness, but the room remained silent, with only the sound of the wind outside and my own broken breaths. I didn't know how long I could fight before that voice completely took over. I didn't know that from that night, another journey was beginning, a journey to find the light, even though I hadn't realized it yet. That night, I left the hospital with a heavy heart. A light rain was falling. The cold drops seemed to seep into my bones, making the sadness in my heart even thicker. I sat hunched on a stone bench near the hospital gate, not knowing where to go, not knowing what tomorrow would bring. Suddenly, a middle-aged woman stopped in front of me. She wore an old coat, her hair was drenched in the rain, but her eyes were unusually bright. She held out a small piece of paper to me and said softly, "You need this." I took it, looking blankly as her figure disappeared into the rain. The paper was a little smudged with water, but I could still read the italicized words. "I have called you by your name. You are mine." Isaiah 43:1. I don't know why that Bible verse shook my heart so much. It was as if someone, from very far away, but also very close, was calling me. Not by the name on my papers, but by the true name deep within my soul. I didn't sleep all that night. The words kept echoing, reminding me that even if the world turned its back on me, there was a being who knew exactly who I was. And for the first time in months, I felt that I wasn't completely lost in the darkness. I hadn't believed yet, hadn't fully understood, but I knew this might be the first ray of light. The paper was a little smudged with water, but I could still read the italicized words. "I have called you by your name. You are mine." Isaiah 43:1. I don't know why that Bible verse shook my heart so much. It was as if someone, from very far away, but also very close, was calling me. Not by the name on my papers, but by the true name deep within my soul. I didn't sleep all that night. The words kept echoing, reminding me that even if the world turned its back on me, there was a being who knew exactly who I was. And for the first time in months, I felt that I wasn't completely lost in the darkness. I hadn't believed yet, hadn't fully understood, but I knew this might be the first ray of light. The paper was a little smudged with water, but I could still read the italicized words. "I have called you by your name. You are mine." Isaiah 43:1. I don't know why that Bible verse shook my heart so much. It was as if someone, from very far away, but also very close, was calling me. Not by the name on my papers, but by the true name deep within my soul. I didn't sleep all that night. The words kept echoing, reminding me that even if the world turned its back on me, there was a being who knew exactly who I was. And for the first time in months, I felt that I wasn't completely lost in the darkness. I hadn't believed yet, hadn't fully understood, but I knew this might be the first ray of light. That evening, I sat in my small room, the yellow light casting shadows on the stained walls. Outside, the rain was still pattering, but the sound of the rain couldn't drown out the emptiness inside me. I remembered the Bible verse that the stranger had given me, a simple sentence that made my heart tremble. It was as if an invisible hand was gently knocking on the door of my heart. I had never truly prayed before. To me, prayer was just a strange ritual, something for other people, not for someone who had lost all hope like me. But that night, for some reason, I whispered, "God, if you are real, please help me. I don't know what to say, but I'm so tired." My voice was trembling, out of rhythm, and every word that came out felt heavy. I don't know how long I kept my eyes closed. I just felt a vague warmth spreading across my chest. It wasn't an immediate transformation, but it was a small spark, like a flickering candle in a dark room. The next day, I still had to face the harsh reality. The illness didn't disappear, the worries weren't resolved, but something else began to exist in my heart. A thought that maybe I wasn't completely alone. Every night, I tried to say a few more words to God, clumsy and broken. Some days I just cried. Some days I couldn't say anything but a sigh, but I kept going. Slowly, I realized that prayer wasn't about reciting beautiful words, but about truly opening my heart. And in the loneliest nights, I began to feel that someone was listening, patiently, gently, and never abandoning me. Every night I tried to say a few more words to God, clumsy and broken. Some days I just cried. Some days I couldn't say anything but a sigh. But I kept going. Slowly I realized that prayer wasn't about reciting beautiful words, but about truly opening my heart. And in the loneliest nights, I began to feel that someone was listening, patiently, gently, and never abandoning me. After that clumsy prayer, I didn't expect anything special to happen. To be honest, I wasn't even sure if God had heard me. But then, in the days that followed, coincidences kept happening. So much so that I began to wonder, is this really a coincidence? The next morning, when I was shuffling out to buy some food, an elderly woman stopped in front of me, smiled, and said, "My child, don't be afraid. God loves you." I was stunned. I had never met her, never spoken to her, and I had no idea how she knew I was so afraid, worried, and lost. Her words were like an arrow piercing straight into my heart, gentle but profound, making me feel a strange warmth spread through my chest. A few days later, as I was waiting for the bus, a small piece of paper was blown to my feet by the wind. I picked it up and saw that it was a leaflet with a Bible verse. "I will never leave you nor forsake you." Hebrews 13:5. I had never read the Bible, but those words kept echoing in my head all day, as if someone was whispering to me, "I am still here." Then one evening, as I was mindlessly scrolling through social media, a video appeared in my feed. The person in the video was sharing about being healed by God from a terminal illness. I hadn't actively searched for it, but that story reached the darkest corners of my being, where despair had long resided. I started to notice a common thread. Every time I hit rock bottom, every time the thought of giving up became the strongest, something would happen to pull me back. A sentence, a Bible verse, a smile from a stranger. None of these things solved my problem immediately, but each one lit a small spark in the thick darkness. I still didn't dare to fully believe that this was God. Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was my mind wanting to cling to something so I wouldn't collapse. But deep down, I felt a presence, gentle but certain, that was following my every step. And I began to ask myself, if this really is God, what does He want me to do next? After the strange signs, I began to realize a profound truth that I had never understood before. True strength is not being able to control everything, but knowing how to let go and trust. My body was still weak. The pain hadn't completely disappeared, but my soul was slowly being healed in a different way. Every day I learned to place all my worries and fears into His hands, the only one who would never abandon me. I remember the long nights of being awake, where every second was an endless internal battle. But instead of fighting alone, I began to pray with the utmost sincerity, not to ask for an immediate miracle, but to ask for the strength to accept and move forward. In my weakness, I found a strange strength, the strength of faith and peace. I no longer ran from reality, no longer felt doubt and anger. Instead, I learned to relax, to surrender myself completely to Him, knowing that no matter the outcome, I would still be held in that loving embrace. I realized that it was in my weakest moments that God's power was most clearly revealed. The Bible verses I read gradually came alive. The promises in the Holy Scriptures were no longer dry words, but became a reality I experienced daily. I started to keep a prayer journal, writing down every moment I felt His presence, every time I found peace amidst the storms. I saw that I was no longer alone on this journey, but had someone always by my side, guiding and supporting my every step. That day, I walked into the clinic with an unusually calm state of mind. There was no longer the confusion and anxiety mixed in like before, only a deep peace in my heart. I told myself that no matter the result, I had been changed, given the strength to face it. The doctor held my file, looking back and forth at the newly updated test results. A look of something, maybe surprise, even confusion, flashed in his eyes. He cleared his throat and said slowly, "There are no more signs of the illness. I can't explain this. We have seen cases of recovery, but your case is so special that medicine can't account for it." The doctor's words made my heart beat faster, not from panic, but from an overflowing joy. I knew this was not a random result of medication or luck. This was the grace of God, the one who had heard my prayers, who had touched my body and my soul. I silently thanked him for not only healing my illness, but also giving me an undying faith. My life from here on out would never be the same. I would not just live to exist, but to prove that miracles still happen, that there is still light in the thickest darkness. That day, I was not only medically confirmed of my recovery, but my heart also affirmed an undeniable truth. God had healed me. God had. The day I received the miraculous results, my heart was filled with so many emotions. But it wasn't just joy. It was a sense of liberation I had never experienced before. I remember that moment clearly, sitting alone in my small room, tears streaming down my face, but this time they were tears of freedom. I wasn't crying because of pain or fear, but because I realized I was forgiven for my mistakes, for my doubts, for the months I had been submerged in despair. For the first time in my life, I felt God's unconditional love, like a refreshing stream washing away every deep wound in my soul. During the years I lived in darkness, I thought I would never be able to get out, but now I felt light, freed from the chains of guilt and despair. That wasn't my own strength. It was His grace, a love that needed no conditions, no merit or achievement, simply love. I remembered the Bible verse, He took our infirmities and bore our diseases. Isaiah 53:4. Those words were no longer just words on a page, but a living word, a reality I was experiencing in every moment of this new life. My tears that day were a sign of a profound transformation, from a slave to pain and sin, to a free child of light and love. I knew that I was not only healed physically, but my soul was also healed. From that moment on, I lived every day with deep gratitude and unwavering faith in God's love, the love that made me come alive again, not just physically, but in my soul. There's a moment in life when you know for sure that nothing will ever be the same again. For me, that moment came gently but intensely, like a brilliant light piercing through the thick, dark clouds that had long covered my soul. I remember that night clearly, the quiet space, the soft yellow light in the corner of the room. I knelt down, not out of despair or to beg for another miracle, but because my heart was overflowing with gratitude and a profound realization. In my heart, a miraculous power rose up, a light that came not from any physical source, but from deep within. That light was not just peace, but a complete awakening. I felt clearly that I was loved completely, accepted despite all my mistakes and flaws. All the fears, doubts, and burdens in me were lifted layer by layer, giving way to a new faith and hope. It was the first time I truly saw God, not through an image or words, but through His living presence in my soul. That light was like a guiding lamp, illuminating every hidden corner of my life and transforming my entire being. From that moment on, I no longer looked at life with eyes of fear. Instead, I walked with a new perspective, the perspective of someone who had been reborn, given the strength to love, forgive, and live every moment to the fullest. That light is proof that no matter how dark life gets, there is always hope, and that hope is the greatest gift I have ever received. After seeing God's light, my life turned a new page, not because everything became perfect, but because I learned how to live each day in His grace. Before, I often felt the burden of responsibility and perfection, always trying to control everything and fight difficulties on my own. But now I realize that it's in my weakness and imperfection that I truly need Him, and He is the only source of strength that never runs out. Every day, I start by spending time praying, reading the Bible, and listening for God's guidance. Those moments are not just a religious duty, but a time when I truly connect with the one who saved my life. I learn to open my heart to let Him guide my every step, whether in joy or in difficulty. My new life is not always easy. There are times when I still feel tired and discouraged, but instead of giving up, I find comfort in the promise that He will always be by my side, never abandoning me. I remember the Bible verse, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." Living in grace means not having to carry every challenge by myself, but knowing how to entrust them to Him. I learned patience, how to forgive myself and others, and to live with a grateful heart. In the days that followed, I felt more clearly every step of my faith journey. Not a perfect journey, but one full of hope and the loving presence of God in every moment. On the journey of walking in grace, I realized a profound truth. Forgiveness is not just a gift we give to others, but also a way to free ourselves from the burdens of the past. Before, I carried a lot of pain and resentment towards myself, towards those who had hurt me, and towards the unfair circumstances I had to go through. Those negative emotions were like invisible chains, increasingly trapping my soul and preventing me from living fully. I used to think forgiveness was too difficult, that it meant giving up my right to justice and vindication. But when I looked into God's light, I was invited to look deep into my heart and place my trust that He could heal all wounds. With His help, I began to practice forgiveness, not just for others, but first and foremost for myself. I realized that my mistakes and stumbles didn't define me, but were opportunities for me to learn and grow. Forgiveness opened a new door for me, where I was no longer bound by a painful past. My soul became lighter, freer. I felt a clear, overwhelming peace, like a cool stream flowing through the darkest corners of my heart. Day by day, I learned to live with an open heart, without resentment, without judgment, but full of compassion and understanding, the very things I received from God's love. Forgiveness not only saved me, but also transformed me into a new person, someone who lives in freedom, hope, and His light. After the months I spent in darkness, when I was healed both physically and in my soul, my life became completely different. I no longer looked at things with the same old eyes full of fear, doubt, and insecurity. Instead, I learned to cherish every present moment as the most precious gift I had ever received. Every morning I wake up, I no longer take it for granted. The sunlight seeping through the window, the chirping of birds, the gentle smell of coffee. It all feels like a delicate symphony that I never paid attention to before. I am grateful for every breath, every look, every warm hug from my loved ones. I spend more time with family and friends, no longer caught in the whirlwind of work or meaningless worries. I learned to slow down, to listen more, and to love more deeply. I also realized that I have a responsibility with this new life, not just to live for myself, but to be a witness to God's healing and love. I started participating in community activities, helping people who were struggling with difficulties, and sharing my story to inspire hope. Life is not always easy, but with God's light guiding me, I feel stronger and more at peace. I know that no matter what challenges lie ahead, I will never walk alone. After being healed, I realized that the most precious gift wasn't just life, but the light of hope I found in the darkness. I know that many people around me are also struggling with challenges, with deep pain, and I feel called to bring that light to them. I started joining patient support groups, people who were facing terminal illnesses or difficulties in life. I don't force anyone to believe what I believe, but I just share my true story, a story of despair, faith, and miraculous healing. Every time I retell that journey, I feel the power spreading. The eyes that were once dimmed by disappointment slowly light up with a spark of hope. I see that they are no longer alone in their battle, but have a companion, a God who loves them relentlessly. In addition to sharing my story, I also learned how to listen, truly listen to the pain and worries of others without judgment. I realized that sometimes what people need is not advice or answers, but just a sincere presence and love. The journey of bringing light to others not only helps them, but also strengthens my own faith and strength. I learned that the greatest joy doesn't come from receiving, but from giving. My life has become more meaningful than ever before, as I can be an instrument for God to do wonderful things in the lives of others. And I know this journey has only just begun. My journey from darkness to light is not just a personal story, but a living testament to God's constant presence and power in every person's life. No matter what difficulties and challenges I went through, He was always there, never leaving, never extinguishing the light of hope. I once stood on the brink of despair, feeling like every door was closed, but it was in those moments that His light shone through, dispelling the darkness, bringing new life and unwavering faith. That light was not just a one-time miracle, but a flame that burns forever in my soul, guiding me and keeping me steady every day. I know that not everyone has a story like mine, but I firmly believe that He is still at work, healing, comforting, and transforming the lives of so many people. His light never goes out as long as we open our hearts and believe. And this is an invitation for you. No matter where you are, no matter what your circumstances, let that light shine into your life. Believe that miracles still happen, hope still exists, and His love still surrounds you every day. That light is waiting for you to transform you and give you true life. My journey from darkness to light is not just my own story, but a testament to God's boundless love and power. When it seemed like there was no way out, He opened a new door, a door that led me to life, peace, and hope that I had never known. I learned that in life, no matter how many challenges there are, no matter how many times we fall, His light is always waiting, never going out. That light not only dispels the outer darkness, but also warms the soul, healing the deepest wounds in every heart. I am writing this story with all my gratitude and a desire to pass on hope to those who are lost. If you are reading these lines and feel a heavy heart, please remember that you are not alone. There is a God who always loves you and is ready to walk with you, no matter what the road ahead holds. Open your heart to receive that light so that the miracle can begin in your life today. If you are feeling lost, lonely, or desperate as I once was, know that you are not alone. There is a light waiting for you to open the door, an unconditional love ready to heal and support you. Take a moment to listen to the call in your heart. Try to pray, even if it's just a short sentence, and let Him into your life. You can start with a simple prayer. God, if you are real, please help me. Don't hesitate to seek out faith communities where you can be loved and supported on your journey to find new hope in life. Remember, a miracle can happen today, right now. Don't wait any longer. Open your heart to receive His light and step into a life full of meaning and peace. You are not alone. He is always there, and He loves you.